Ari, I worry sometimes because I feel like we are guilty of overhyping people. And Nico Iamaleava is a guy that we have hyped since he committed to Tennessee. And then we've continued to step it up, step it up, step it up. And we have now seen him as a starter for 3 games, the bowl game last year, the first 2 games this year. And he seems to be living up to all of that hype. So I worry again because the next logical step is we ratchet that hype up even further. But what if we were right with all this hype? What if he is that dude?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've hyped him up. I didn't sign those checks.
Somebody did.
I didn't sign them. It's no skin off my back, but like it is a interesting dichotomy because you have this person that this program has invested a ton of money into and a ton of faith into, and it's working so far.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about Tennessee's team this year, and I moved them up to number 4 in my top 10 this week. Granted, part of that was because everybody in the top 10 stunk this week, except 3 teams. But the other part of that is we're going to have a 10-minute Nico discussion right now. But my favorite part about the Tennessee team, the game, is that he threw a pick 6 in the red zone.
Yep.
He had 2 interceptions in the game, if I remember correctly,
yes.
And they won 51-10.
Exactly.
Against a pretty good team. So
because they had their own, like Will Brooks had a pick 6 for Tennessee. Dylan Sampson was tremendous on the ground. The offensive line was blowing open holes. Part of the thing that makes Nico's rise so interesting and gets you the most excited about what Tennessee's future and ceiling could be is that Josh Heupel and company and Aspire Sports Group, let's be real here, put a really good team around him.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of crazy, but that's what you need to do in this sport.
Yeah.
So, I look at their schedule, and if I remember correctly, they have a pretty manageable draw for an SEC schedule this year.
It is. I mean, they play Alabama and Georgia, but
they do play 2 tough teams, but we're in a 12-team era where you could lose those 2 games and still make it.
Yep.
So, it's not like they have to play Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU.
They are at Oklahoma, too. But
I'm saying all of them at once.
Yeah.
Their draw, I don't think, is easy.
Yeah.
It's not Mizzou, but it's not.
It's one of the better ones.
Top.
Yeah. Tennessee, Missouri, and Ole Miss, I think, are the ones that should feel pretty good about their draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you have a young quarterback who makes plays, has a ton of potential, and he has a runway because in 2 weeks they do play, like you said, at Oklahoma. And it's going to be a really fun matchup between Jackson Arnold and Nico. But this team has a ton of potential, and it kind of reminds me of even 2 years ago because they come into a year, people are skeptical, and they just kick everyone's butt. And then the next thing you know, it's week 6, and they're undefeated, have a few good quality wins, and it's like, whoa, this team's here to play. And unlike 2 years ago, Tennessee has some margin of error in this new system, where even with a freshman quarterback, let's say he goes out and lays an egg or has a rough game against Alabama or Georgia, or even both, but beats Jackson Arnold, this is a team that can get hot at the end of the year and really, really accomplish something at the end of the year. So, I'm pretty high on them right now.
And unlike 2 years ago, though, they're not going to surprise anybody. So people, when they play the Vols, are going to be up for them no matter what. And especially that Oklahoma game, not just because it's Tennessee, but because it is Oklahoma's first SEC home game.
Sure,
you're going to get the best version of Oklahoma in that game. Whatever you thought you saw Oklahoma-Houston on Saturday night, it wasn't pretty. Tennessee's going to get a better version of Oklahoma than that.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to be a lot of fun, but a lot of pressure on Nico and on Jackson Arnold. And you think about it, it's kind of appropriate. You got probably the 2, basically number 1 and number 2 in all the recruiting rankings, quarterback recruits in the class of 2023. These were the 2 guys everybody wanted. I can't wait to see that, but we got one more game of Nico before that, and I want to see how he handles that. We got one more game of Jackson Arnold before we get to that. But Nico has just handled this thing. I thought so. I remember going to see him when he was a commit, and he was playing a 7-on-7 tournament in Knoxville, and basically people are just mobbing him. And you're like, how in the world is this guy going to handle all this? Because that's an intense fan base.
Sure.
Probably. Okay, we're standing in front of Ohio Stadium right now. We're in Columbus doing some stuff. This is an intense fan base here. Michigan's an intense fan base. Alabama's an intense fan base. There's something different about Tennessee, though, in terms of they love you so much. Like it's a little bit like, I don't know if you ever watched Tiny Toon Adventures, but Elmira, when she would squeeze her pets, like she loves them, but she's probably gonna crush their lungs. She's hugging them so hard. That is the Tennessee fan base. Like they love you so hard, they might crush you. But Nico struck me as the kind of guy who could maybe deal with that, maybe handle the pressure that comes with being the anointed savior of the Tennessee program. And so far, so good.
Tennessee fans, and I mean this as a compliment, are the only fan base that scare me. Have you ever been on the wrong side of a Tennessee tidal wave?
Oh, Vol Twitter absolutely has gotten after my ass.
And it is, and I'll say the average avalanche of fan bases, because I do this regularly. People get mad at me all the time, is in between 12 and 24 hours. Tennessee gets you for 2 weeks. Okay?
Exactly.
And they don't forget.
Exactly.
So, but you know what? We're here talking about good things. And I think the point that you made when we were watching the game at the sports bar in Ann Arbor on Saturday was good. And I think it's the perfect way to quantify a talent who might not have lit the score or the box score up, but actually played a very dynamic game when you look at it.
Yes.
Is that even on plays that aren't going anywhere or on plays that aren't run perfectly, Nico has a knack for turning nothings into even some little somethings.
Right. 2-yard gain is better than a 5-yard loss. And he has a knack for figuring out how to get you that 2-yard gain when it should have been a 5-yard loss.
And if you do that 7 times in a game, Andy, that's 100 yards.
We're a bad at math show.
But I didn't just mean 2. I think that would be minus 7 times 7 would be 49 plus 14. That'd be 65 extra yards. Does that sound right?
49 plus 14 is 63. Bad at math show.
No,
Bad at math show. That said.
Was that the right math process, by the way?
No.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But Nico is going to get you out of trouble more often than he's going to get you into trouble, which for a fan base that watched Joe Milton for a year last year, they're rejoicing. And the thing is, they were spoiled, because I think that's what drove them crazy about Joe Milton, is they had Hendon Hooker for 2 years. Hendon Hooker was also great at that. So if I had told the Tennessee fans before this season, here's what Nico is. He's Hendon Hooker with a much higher ceiling. Every one of them would have said, sign me up. And that's exactly what he is.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of really nice to say out loud. And you're talking about a team that's coming off a 51-10 win against a team that we thought would be a pretty tough out in the ACC this year. That wasn't just some
no, NC State was a team we were talking about potentially winning the ACC.
Yeah. So, you combine that with the fact that Nico didn't light up the box score. You think about the other pieces that they have. They have the best edge rusher in college football.
James Pierce, right.
So, there's a lot of pieces there. How do you get through a Tennessee video of 8 minutes and not mention Pierce's name once?
Yeah.
That is a part of the equation. And, I really do think that the pieces here, I'm willing to say this, I think I underestimated them a lot coming into the season.
Now, I don't know that I did, because I've been predicting them to go to the playoff the entire time. But it was for this reason. It was kind of extrapolating and thinking Nico would be this. But the fact of the matter is, we'd only seen him start one game. We didn't know if he could be this. The more we see him, the more I feel like this is who he is, and it's going to get better.
It's almost like the prospects who people think are physically gifted on a level that other people can't fathom have a higher likelihood of actually being good.
They do, but it's still a crapshoot with quarterbacks,
it is a crapshoot when it comes to being a top 10 pick.
Yeah.
But it's not a crapshoot when it comes to being really good. I think for the most part, a 5-star quarterback, I think is a bad 5-star quarterback is one that either is a marginally okay starter for a few years. But, I think Bruce Feldman, our old friend there at The Athletic and Fox Sports, says it's about a 50-50 hit rate in terms of whether
the 5 stars
are going to be really, really good or a miss. And I think he considers not playing exceptional ball, but still being a starter as a miss.
Yeah.
But there is a correlation between DJ Lagway and him being good. There is a correlation between Nico and being good. There's going to be a correlation between Jackson Arnold, if he hits, and him being good.
Yeah.
Because these people have exceptional traits, and they have gone through hours and hours and hours, months, years of quarterback training. This isn't like 1996 anymore, where you need to have 2 years of experience of not playing. The Arch Manning route is archaic.
I actually want to ask you about that, because this is something I thought about all offseason. Like, should Josh Heupel have started Nico earlier? Should he have gone to him at the end of last season? And now I kind of wonder, did he do it right by making sure all of the pieces were right around him before?
Well, the problem
he
with
put him in
playing
that
this
spot?
game is that you never get to see the results of the alternative.
Right.
So you can say, well, this is working out great. But maybe it's just working out great because Nico's awesome.
Good and,
yeah,
and,
like,
yeah, they,
you know,
and they could have won more games last year.
And you know what? If Arch
Yeah.
Manning comes in next year when Quinn Ewers is gone and into the NFL and is awesome, you could say, hey, you know, this worked out really well. And I think that just letting a good player play probably is just going to work out however you do it. So
Yeah.
you are talking to the person that thought that Sean Clifford should have been benched his last year for Drew Aller to get the experience, so that Penn State was more equipped to be good last year when they were 2 games away from making the playoffs. I am always a proponent of playing the kid, and it's not because I just think all 5 stars are ready to play. I'm a proponent of playing the 5 stars who the coaches deem are ready to play.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to baby these guys. You see a lot of young players in college football coming in and changing.
We're watching Dylan Raiola do it in Nebraska.
Dylan Raiola is 2-0, and he's flashing his watch. What time is it after beating Colorado? And he's been in college for like
4 days.
I've been dieting longer than he's been in college. So like, and I haven't achieved nearly as much as what he has. So like, you know, we're in a new era of the sport. And I think that the players that come in and are in Nico's position are in a more qualified position to play early than people give them credit for. They are kids. There is a lot of pressure. They're away from home. It's not high school anymore. All that stuff is true. But when you sign big NIL deals and you're going all over the country and people are pitching you how great, I mean, you have more adult experience than a lot of adults do at that point. You know, you're not a child anymore. And I think it's okay to play these guys.
Well, we've hyped up Nico since the moment he committed. We got burned by freezing cold takes on a Notre Dame video last week. It's okay. Freezing cold takes is not getting us on this one.
Nope.
Nico, I think he's that dude. I think he just probably is. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.